In the last 2 episodes of my living room renovation series, I completely gutted my fireplace, built new cabinet doors, and my largest project to date, a 16-foot long fireplace mantle. In this third part of the series, I'm turning my attention to lighting. In a previous video, I mentioned installing shelves within the built-in cabinets, but my plan has completely changed as I've progressed through this project. Instead, I'm building out a cabinet insert that will house built-in spotlights to hopefully create a cozy vibe for the living room. I'm ripping down the plywood into a fairly simple box and edge banding all of the exposed sides. The only unusual part of this build are these slats. The bottom will hide an LED channel, and then the top row will hide the wiring for the LEDs, which you'll see here in a moment. I'm using the same custom paint wash I used for the mantle and finishing the same way as well. Now that the finish is dry, I'm flipping the box upside down to prep for the lighting installation. I created a simple jig for my mounting holes. This way, all I need to do is measure center. Expectedly, I forgot to cut holes for the wires to pass through the back, but fortunately I had a nice long drill bit that made quick work of it. I was inspired by moody museum lighting and I wanted to replicate that feel, but I for the life of me could not find high quality, low profile spotlights that fit my needs in terms of brightness, power delivery, and color temperature. So I created a test. Using the back of what I'm pretty sure is a hummus lid, a toilet paper roll, and some hot glue, I crafted something that might not only work, but have its own advantages. One of these being cost savings, but also by creating my own spotlights, it will allow me to utilize the same LEDs I'm using throughout the fireplace, so I can connect them to the same power supply and LED controller, which will provide them the same dimming and smart capabilities. Now with that being said, I'm not going to add literal trash to my fireplace, so I designed a spotlight that consists of 2 separate parts. First is the base, which will house the wires and LEDs. Second is the cover piece. I designed it with magnets that will attach directly onto the mounting screws used to secure the base. And now it's time to put it all together. When I started this soldering project, it felt like a complete leap of faith. I've only soldered maybe once or twice up to this point. I think one of the first was for my bathroom mirror video, and I ended up leaving out all of the soldering footage because it was just so bad. Now, all of a sudden, I'm faced with soldering, 18 soldering pads with these tiny wires. And honestly, I can't describe the amount of frustration I felt through this struggle, all the way from questioning whether or not I was fundamentally incapable as a human of being able to solder to considering finding a completely different solution. Fortunately, after binging soldering tutorials, upgrading my 20-year-old hand-me-down soldering iron, and persevering through trial and error, I managed to pull off something I'm proud of. That being said, it's far from perfect. Mid-project, I changed to a thicker gauge wire and didn't account for how much more space this wire would take up within the housing. Because of this, there may be some slight added tension, and although probably not necessary, I added some hot glue reinforcements to the soldering joints, which I hoped would also support the double stick tape in the event it failed. Not pretty, but it gave me some peace of mind.
So far, I don't feel I've accurately captured the scale of this fireplace mantle, but this shot does an excellent job of showcasing just how long it really is.
I haven't explained the hardware I'm using for this project. I'm utilizing cob LEDs, which I chose for a few reasons. They're very high density, so great for eliminating the ability to see individual pixels or individual LEDs like you may have experience with a typical LED strip. And surprisingly, they provide more brightness or lumens per watt, making them more power efficient overall. And let me tell you, they get bright. For smart control, I'm using a Wi-Fi enabled LED controller by the same company. Honestly, I just chose this because I knew it was compatible. My one gripe is it doesn't have Apple Home support, but it does support Google and Amazon. For the power supply, I just picked one up that provided the power needs my setup required. I will mention, because I'm using almost 50 feet or 15 meters of LED strips, I'm splitting this up into 3 sections. This way I'm a bit more comfortable so I don't push the wires and the hardware too much, and it gives me flexibility in controlling separate lighting zones. The next video will largely be around organization, so I'll show you my cable management solutions using 3D printing. Everything I discussed in this video, I'll put a link in the description.
This project took so much longer than I imagined. It felt like this never-ending list of intertwining to-dos, finding solutions to problems that I'm continually creating and changing. The creative process is always challenging, but being able to build something I've worked so hard on, it feels like a physical representation of myself. And I think there's something really special about that.
Oh yeah, so you'll go up and then swing around? Are you good with that?
Yeah.
Hang off, or can you go over it? Okay, give me 1 second. Are you okay?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a little heavy.
Great. Okay, stay right there. Okay, good. Okay, go ahead and turn a little more. Push it over your side a little bit. Hold on. Okay. Riley.
Riley.
Right. Riley.
Riley.
She's ignoring us.
She's totally ignoring. She's listening. Cuckoo. Cuckoo. Do you want to listen to me?